Today, we are going to tackle a massive puzzle. Why is it that some societies or industries or even whole communities just flourish, while others that seem to have all the right ingredients just kind of stagnate? We're going to explore this whole question through the really fascinating work of Dr. Nimrod Israeli. So let's get right into it. Okay, this sentence right here, this is pretty much the key to unlocking the entire puzzle. What it's saying is that prosperity isn't just about having more stuff, more money, more tech, more people. No, it's about how all of those pieces are organized. Let's really hang on to that idea. And right there, that's the mystery at the very heart of this thing. We see just enormous amounts of effort, tons of resources poured into creating growth. But so often, the results just don't last. So if it's not about trying harder, then what on earth are we missing? I mean, we see this pattern everywhere, don't we? Just think about a particular region, or maybe even a company you know. Why does one just take off and thrive, while its neighbor, which looks almost identical on paper, just struggles to get by? This unevenness, that's our first big clue in this puzzle. Now, what's so wild is that a system can have every single one of these things. We're talking huge investments, all the latest tech, tons of smart people, and still be completely stuck. And that tells us something really important. These parts, while you definitely need them, they aren't the whole story. There is absolutely something deeper going on. So this leads us to investigate the most common trap people fall into, and why it so often leads them down the wrong path. See, we tend to focus on improving the individual parts, but as we're about to find out, that might be the biggest misleading clue in this entire puzzle. Is the answer just to throw in a better tool or some more efficient machine? Does that really create lasting wealth? Well, what about just pumping in more cash? Surely more funding should fix the problem, shouldn't it? Or maybe it's just about getting bigger. Do we just need to get more people in on it, expand the whole network? And here's the big twist. All of those things, more tech, more money, more people, they absolutely create more activity. Things definitely get busier. Production might even spike for a little while, but they don't automatically create sustained prosperity. The gains, they just kind of fizzle out. And this is where we get to the real turning point in our investigation, the big aha moment. It comes when we stop staring at the individual puzzle pieces and we start looking at how they all fit together. The focus shifts from the components to the system's overall structure. This chart just lays it out so perfectly. The old way, the component view, is all about trying to make each little part better on its own. But the system view, it understands that the real magic happens in the connections, in the relationships between all the parts. It's about building coherence across the whole system, not just boosting capacity in one corner. I mean, this is such a powerful idea. When a system is organized effectively, something incredible happens. The total output becomes way, way greater than what you'd get by just adding up all the individual pieces. It's like the difference between a world-class orchestra and a room full of brilliant musicians who are all just playing their own tune. But just when we think, okay, structure, that's the answer, a new challenge pops up. It turns out that growth itself introduces a brand new, really tricky problem that the system has to solve. So here's how this paradox plays out. The system gets better, right? So naturally, it grows. But that growth adds complexity. You get more people, more relationships, more processes to manage, and all of a sudden, coordination gets a lot harder. And without the right structure, the very success of the system can actually cause it to fragment and just fall apart. So, the crucial point is this central tension. You simply cannot have advanced prosperity without complexity. You need that specialization and scale. But that exact same complexity, if it's not managed in the right way, will overwhelm the system and bring all that progress to a grinding halt. Okay, so now we have all the clues. We know it's about structure, and we know that structure's main job is to manage growing complexity. So let's put it all together and finally solve this prosperity puzzle. The key is to stop thinking about prosperity as something you build directly. Instead, think of it as an emergent property. A great way to think about this is consciousness. You can't find consciousness in a single neuron, right? It emerges from the incredibly complex interactions of billions of them. Well, prosperity works the same way. And this timeline shows you exactly how it happens. First, complexity increases. That's just what happens with growth. But then an effective structure steps in and organizes all that new complexity. This allows the system to maintain its coherence instead of breaking apart. And only then, as a result of that successfully managed growth, does lasting prosperity emerge. So if there is one thing you take away from this entire explainer, let it be this. Our goal shouldn't be to build prosperity piece by piece. It should be to design systems and structures that can absorb complexity and maintain their coherence over time, because prosperity is the natural outcome of that capability. And this leaves us with the next big question, doesn't it? If this structural capability is the real secret sauce, how do we create it on purpose? How do we build economies and organizations and communities with an architecture that allows prosperity to emerge reliably, instead of just hoping for the best? Now that is the challenge for all of us.